Mama, I want to tell you a little bit about my evening and this aha moment that I had, and how I think it'll relate to you in taking action on your goals too. So, I come into my office tonight, getting ready to record this episode for you. And I sit down, I respond to a couple emails, get some things organized for tomorrow, taking some notes. And all of a sudden, I hear this sound outside. And it's this buzzing, humming sound. It's not going away, it's getting louder, and I realized that we have people working on our vineyard out in the vineyard. We live on property, and 5 acres of that property is a planted vineyard. And we have a vineyard management company that comes and helps with different activities throughout the year and different seasons. And we're gearing up for harvest right now. And the tractor is going through the rows, getting things together, doing their job, and I'm sitting here listening to it go back and forth and back and forth, and I start thinking to myself, "Oh, I'm gonna have to record it another time. I'm already behind. My daughter's been sick. Things haven't been going to plan. I'm behind schedule. I really need to record this tonight. They're gonna be able to hear the tractor. It's gonna be a mess in the episode." And all these stories that I am telling myself, and just like mental spiral. Have you ever been there? Yes. I don't know why we do this to ourselves, but I am able to do a better job at recovering now that I'm aware of it. And so I catch myself and I'm like, Kelsey, this is exactly why you and others don't accomplish their goals, because you're so focused on the perfect situation to be able to take the action, instead of just going for it or doing the thing and allowing it to be a little less perfect. You're too worried about it being perfect. I will be super curious to know if you can even hear the tractor in the background of this episode. You probably can't. And to think that I would have not even recorded this because I was worried that it might be a little less perfect. It might not work out perfectly. If you're watching on YouTube, also when I clicked record, I noticed that you could see my daughter's little playmat in the background of the video. No one cares. Why would I go move that? It could be a little bit less perfect. It doesn't need to not be there. I don't need to have the perfect background. It's okay that that's there. And we so often will tell ourselves stories of what needs to be different, why something won't work, when really what needs to happen is you just need to take the action. You just need to let it be unperfect, let it be messy. And what if it truly has to be? Like, what if it can't be perfect? I was watching my son at swim lessons today and I had this same thought. And I'm sure there's going to be a parent out there that's going to tell me that this sounds horrible, but most of you will relate that we've all watched our kids go through a learning process, a growing process. Maybe it's in a sport or an activity, writing their letters, name, even I know a couple of the moms talk about this with their tween girls and even into teens, where you have this experience where you're kind of cringing for your kids. You realize that they are not to that place yet, that they've learned how to do that thing. And you're watching them in the process and you're kind of, holding your tongue and cringing a little bit. And you're like, ooh, yep. Hope we get a little better at that thing. And you love them and you're so proud of them, but you're also like, ooh, let's work on that. Okay, if I'm being totally honest, I've seen this in activities in sports with my kids and writing letters, things like that, where you're like, okay, we're going to keep working on that. We're going to take action on that. Even when our kids take their very first steps, typically, very rarely, do they start walking perfectly right away. They typically are a little bobbly at first and they take a step and they fall down and they're trying to keep themselves up. Even right now, my youngest, she's 3 months old, and her head is like a little bobble doll, right? And it's being able to learn and have this growth period to be able to do the thing that you've never done before, right? We've never done these things before. We've never played T-ball before. We've never had swim lessons. We've never gone on a first date. We've never braided our hair. We've never played that sport. So, how would we be able to do that? Well, we wouldn't. That's why we tell our kids to practice. That's why we tell them to just give it a shot. Try. You don't know if you don't try. You've probably said similar things, but why do we not tell ourselves that? So, why are you telling yourself that it has to be this perfect layup? You have to know you're going to be successful. You have to know that it's going to work out before you take action. One of my best friends, she is someone I've talked about before on the podcast that when we first became friends, we didn't really see eye to eye. We don't actually have a lot in common. We're very different people, but now she's truly one of my best friends. And to think back to if I hadn't let that relationship evolve, if I hadn't let that relationship be messy and imperfect, I would have completely missed out on someone now that is one of my best friends. And to think that I could have very easily just been like, nope, not for me. That doesn't seem perfect yet. There's so many ways that this can show up in our life. Think about even maybe a partner that you have and your first couple interactions with each other, or the job that you're in, things that you've done in your life that haven't felt super easy or super perfect right at the beginning. Because how would they? You have to learn by doing. You have to learn through experience. You have to learn by taking the messy action and being imperfect. You are either a mom or you're interested in motherhood, or you show up in a motherhood role if you're listening to this podcast. And motherhood is such another great example of this. We do not learn how to become a mom by reading a bunch of books or going to a bunch of classes. Yeah, sure, those can support you. I took them, I read them, but we really learn how to become a mom by doing the thing, right? By taking imperfect action. There really is not a handbook to motherhood. Every child is different. Every pregnancy, other motherhood journey, every way that you step into it is going to be different. And you're only going to learn by doing it and having that experience. Sure, you can ask mom friends for advice here and there. Sure, you can read some books, take some classes, but at the end of the day, it's going to be you and your experience doing it imperfect. I don't believe that there is such a thing as a perfect mom. And I think that the reason is we have to be imperfect to be perfect. That is what makes us perfect for our kids. By learning, growing, evolving, learning alongside of them, and letting them see us try, fail, move through things, that is what makes us perfect in their eyes. But if we're so focused on everything being in the right place at the right time with the exact right feelings and all the stars aligned, we're going to miss out on what's for us waiting for that. We have to take the messy, imperfect action. We have to let ourselves be bad at the thing before we can be good at it. Again, writing our letters, taking our first steps, taking that sport for the first time and practicing, first job, holding hands, taking your kid out for an activity. Do you remember the first time you tried to get your kids out of the house after they were born? Like the very first time you have to pack the diaper bag, go to the doctor's appointment, all the things. Now it's a whole different level for you, I'm sure. The first time you had to send your kid off to school, the first time you had to send them off to their own apartment, all of those things are going to be new and hard, but you're going to figure it out. So, why would you not take this same approach when it comes to accomplishing your goals? The things that you want to do, whether it's personal, professional, in your household, all the things that we talk about here. You are allowed and meant to have all these different things that you want to do, people that you want to be, ways you want to evolve and grow. But there's probably something right now that you're telling yourself it's not the right time. I don't know how to do that yet. I couldn't do that because. Is that really true? Or do you need to just record the podcast with the tractor in the background? Whatever version that is for you. Do you need to just push play? Do the thing. however it's going to look. There's been this trend going around social media. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I absolutely love it. And it says something along the lines of what people think consistency is and what consistency actually is. And an example is they show like 10 glasses of water, and it'll say what people think consistency is drinking water. And it's 10 glasses of water fully full, drinking it at all these hours of the day. And then it says what it really is, and it shows like a sip here, a sip there, half a glass, and some days you're doing really well, some days you're not. Another example is it will say like working out, and it'll say like perfect workouts all these different days, where really it means like moving your body every day or doing it most of the time. I think this is such a good reminder that consistency doesn't necessarily look like perfection. It looks like continually showing up, continually trying. And going back to a sports analogy, if you're going up and you're hitting the ball, it doesn't look like hitting a home run every time. It looks like feeling out what needs to be hit at that point in time. What is the right play? What is the right move? How can you get on base? Maybe it's not going to be a home run, but what can you do? And I think that it is so important to remember this. And I am just as guilty. Like I said, it shows up, it can be so sneaky in certain ways, but where you can really overcome that is just catching yourself. So, like tonight, I was like, "You know what? We're gonna push record. It doesn't need to be perfect." Is it really gonna take away from this conversation and this message if you hear a little bit of something in the background? Probably not. And it can just be a little less perfect. Actually, one of my mentors who also has a podcast, Jester Rose Glazier, it's for business owners if you're interested. She was just talking about this. She is towards the end of her pregnancy and she said, "You know what? Recording a podcast right now is going to look a little different. I'm just going to do, raw episodes when I'm walking and on walks." And she has had great feedback about it. And she's absolutely loved doing it. To think that she could have stopped herself and said, "You know what? I can't do this. It's going to be less perfect." Which really in her story, the interesting thing is doing it less perfect ended up being more perfect and more what her audience was looking for right now. So you might think that something is less perfect, but what if it's not? What if it's actually the right way to go? What if you think now is a bad time to accomplish that goal and really it's the right time? What if the right time really is now? But you don't know because you can't see a bird's eye view of your entire life and everything that's happening. So, what if you just need to go for it? What if you just need to do it? And what if it doesn't have to look like perfection? It just looks like trying and taking the first step. Maybe you're trying to clean up an area of your home. I was thinking about this tonight. One of the things that really makes me feel good is if the pillows are set up at the couch at the end of the night and my sink is empty when I walk out in the day. Now, that doesn't always happen 100% of the time, but it happens a lot of the time. It didn't used to, though. I used to feel like we always had dishes in our sink, our counter was messy all the time, but then I committed to every night we're going to do like a 5-minute cleanup where we get the dishes cleaned up and put away, clean off the counter, tidy up the pillows. It literally takes about 5 minutes. Now, if I had told myself, "You know what? Forget it. It's just not going to happen most of the time. Why even try?" I would miss out on that 80% of the time that it does work out and it feels so good. All because that 10 to 20% of the time, it doesn't work out or I don't prioritize it. So, what are the other areas in your life that you're truly just missing out on what could be because you're focused on that other 10 to 20% or that imperfect layup for you? You're in charge of taking action and you're in charge of setting yourself up for success. And I wish I could just pop through this headphones or however you're listening and hold your hand and say, "Let's go, girl." But I can't. This is the closest I can get. So let's do it together. Let's push play. Let's record with the tractor in the background. Let's show up and learn how to write our letters when it looks cringy and messy. Let's step up to the plate and hit the ball, even if we're not going to get a home run, because we are able to take steps and do it imperfect to learn along the way and become and create what's on the other side. I am so excited about this energy of finishing up summer. So many moms in our community are so excited about really feeling like they can prioritize themselves coming into the end of summer. And I want to know what that is for you. I'm really excited to bring all of us together and focus on some success secrets that I've learned along the way accomplishing my goals and really allowing myself to take that fast action and be a little less perfect. And on Wednesday, July 31st, I'm hosting 2 sessions for a free class called Success Secrets, where I'm going to walk through some secrets around accomplishing your goals and making sure that you're actually achieving them. So often we can set goals, but we don't take that action, we don't achieve them. And I really want you to take some of these things that I've learned and our community has utilized to be able to really end this summer with some success, to look at your goals, what you want, and say, you know what, I can do this. I can do it messy. It can look a little less perfect because truly it can. So, if you are ready to accomplish some goals, I'm going to put a link in the show notes, or you can go to mamahasgoals.com/goal dash workshop. And we are going to get together. I'm going to map out some of these secrets for you. We have done this session before, and the takeaways were just absolutely amazing. And I cannot wait to bring you together and help you really kick off this next month with the right framework for success to be able to take action, take that momentum, take those messy steps, and hit the ball, whether it's going to be a base hit or a home run. All right, mama, I love you. I am so excited. Do it less perfect. Let me know if you could hear the tractor in the background. And let's do this. Sending you love.